Visual. I see it all.
So I'm your host, Visual. This is IC Web 3. Here's another Twitter space right for y'all right here. We're talking about raising women. We're all girl dads here in this conversation. I got a few guests with me. And just to tell you guys from the top, to introduce myself, like I said, I'm Visual. I'm the host. I have 4 daughters, 2 sets of twins. And yeah, I've been blessed, man, 2 times. And all girls. And it's been quite a ride, quite a ride. I got 2 15-year-olds and 2 9-year-olds who will be 10 in just a couple weeks. So yeah, that's the basis of where I'm at right now. And there's a whole lot more to tell that we'll get into. But why don't we go to Weird Marcus, man? Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell us what you got going on in your world, bro.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Marcus. I am a father of 2. I have 1 boy. My son, he's the oldest at 12, and my daughter is 7 currently. She'll be 8 in October. She's my little deployment gift. She was actually born on my first deployment. So, yeah, my kids are my world. I love them, and everything I do is for them. I'm military, medical, entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying, running the whole gambit, out here trying to end generational, curses, trying to get this generational wealth popping for my kids. That's me in a quick little summed up nutshell. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I love that. I love that. What's good, Mo? NFT Experience. What's good, brother? Tell us what you got going on, man.
What up, bro? Man, I got 2 kids, 2 daughters, and one's 20, turning 21 this year, and one's 8. She's probably turning 22 mentally, little punk. That little young one's rowdy, bro. That thing's is literally a mirror image of me, but it's my mentality, but a pretty ass little girl. It's over with, bro. So it's crazy, man. Raising kids is trippy. Raising women is even trippier because it's you realize as a man that this world ain't built for women. So it's almost like you had to be a superhero, like a super shield and shit for them. Because man, being Mexican and then being a female, you're doubled up as a double minority already in this matrix. So it's kind of trippy running fatherhood. And when people say that you raise a son and a daughter equally, that's a damn lie. You don't raise them the same and shit. That's why I think each figure is very important in a child's development, male and female.
Man, 100%, bro. 100%. I
Completely
feel you on
agree.
that. Feel you on that, man. I think there's so much to talk about that, especially when you mentioned, that you realize that this world is not made for women. As a father, I think that's something definitely we're going to touch on, man, because that's something I think about all the time. John, let's go to you, brother. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's up, guys? I'm John, father of 2 girls. I got a 13-year-old about to enter high school and a 11-year-old that's about to go into 4th grade because her birthday's after September. Right now, I'm on schedule. I write shit down every 5 years. Every 5 years, I shake my can and I gotta fucking change it up. Because for me, with these girls, after 5 years, if we still on the same bullshit, it gets stagnant. So I had them 4 years apart on purpose because I wanted to make sure that the process of high school and college was set up. My wife is an educator. She, DePaul graduate, master's. That part of schooling shit, I had it covered with her. I'm a street guy. I learned by watching. My caught up with a bunch of bullshit parents, so I kind of just figured shit out as I grew. Having these girls have turned me into a better man than I could ever have been if I had boys. I can honestly say that now because I probably would be just kicking their ass, fucking them up, squaring them up versus my approach with these, I call them princesses. My approach with my princesses is, yo, I gotta come at them verbally so that they understand mentally what I'm trying to say. And I keep it 100 with them. This high school process of choosing the right school, making sure you get in, yo, that shit is fucking vigorous. You need to have both parents involved at all fucking times. It's crazy if you ain't got both sets. There is a lack, bro. There truly is. Because they're gonna need a male perspective, they're gonna need a female perspective, and they're gonna need to see you and her go at it and resolve that fucking issue. Because then they're gonna know, okay, he ain't scooting out. He's around. Okay, he's right here. Okay, I see it. They're picking up. Like I said, I grew up with 5 sisters. My dad was not around. I can tell you all my sisters are not in a good place. I see it. I seen what it did when the male figure ain't around. So I'm truly, truly, truly grateful for me having the opportunity to be in a position where I'm Mr. Mom. I do my thing after I drop them off, and I make sure that I'm available when they come out. I have student athletes. That was one of the things that I've always said. You need to make sure you play sports, you play an instrument, and you fucking bring home straight A's. I'll cover the crib. So it's been working so far. We're in Chicago, so this selective enrollment and these schools and all this shit here is fucking crazy. I don't know who else is up here with kids, but this school system up here is fucking wild. Fortunate for me, my daughter got into Whitney Young, so she'll be a Dolphin. Out of 17,000 fucking applicants, 300 get into the school. That's 1.875%. So I'm extremely proud that she did her job. So I can't really fuck around with her, you know, and that was my main rule that I do with her as a dad. My approach right now is like, hey man, you do your part. I can't give you shit. I can't be sending you to bed right at 9:30 talking shit, you know what I mean? Because you did your part. Okay, you maybe slide an extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. I'll fuck with you. And I speak to them just like this. The way I'm speaking to you guys is the same way that I speak to my children. My children are so fucking proper, you would not think that they're my children. But they see the shit in me. My wife's the opposite. So I'm extremely blessed. I'm extremely happy. I have a cello player amongst my youngest one. I have a guitar player on the other one. I'm a bass player, so we jam out from time to time. We walk, like right now we would be sitting watching the Bulls game. We go to games all the time. My 13-year-old's a hooper, volleyball player. So we get after it. I'm busy with them all the time. They are a direct reflection of me. When I pass, my shit moves on because of them. So I need to make sure that they hold up my last name well. And they don't bring no punk motherfucker into this realm. Because really, that's what it is. And I tell my wife all the time, I was like, your parents got lucky that I turned out all right. Because I could have fucked your whole world up. My wife comes from a very nice, family, well put together. I mean, I totally appreciate the stableness because she taught me what that looks like and what happens when both parents, despite issues, you hash it out, you fucking figure it out. If there's truly love, there's truly love. And that's it. So I'm extremely happy. So this room here, this space, it holds dear to my heart. Like I'm all about this shit. And then I'm a hairstylist, so 90% of the people that I see on a regular are women. So now I see these older women that didn't have the foundation that I'm giving to these girls, and they're teaching me what they lacked as a young lady that I'm able to flip the script and put it on them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that the simple things of just go in the room and lay down. You ain't got to say shit. Just lay there with them for a little while. Take those few minutes, hang out, roll out. They'll feel you. They see you. Come, go to some random thing. Drop them off. Let them be. Make them feel like you trust in them. A lot of little things like that. Not micromanaging them. Hey, to each their own, but I'm telling you from my, experience. So I'm extremely happy. Of course I want a boy, but I already got operated. That ain't gonna happen. It's all right. I know my daughters will give me boys. I'll just take it as I wasn't ready for them. I needed this to be a better man so that I can turn around and be a better grandfather to, let's say, my grandson. Because being a boy, with a boy, I had to be coached. I had to be, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole different. My brother's got sons. I say my brother, but he's really my best friend who has sons, and I live vicariously through him. You know, it's like my nephew's son, which is cool, but completely different dynamic, yo. When you have daughters, you're a protector. You're opening up that door. You're teaching that you're the first man that this female falls in love with. So guess who she gonna go after? She gonna go after a dude that's like you. They either gonna choose the same shit or choose the complete opposite. So you need, you know, as fathers to girls, we need to make sure that we are on our utmost respect on them always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, that's what's up, bro. You know, it's crazy, man. Like me and you got, you know, kind of like a similar background with that, man. Me and my wife are pretty much the opposites, and she's an educator and master's degree and all that. And I was kind of like the knucklehead that was on some whole other shit, man, that could have definitely ruined her life if I didn't get my shit together at a certain point, man. So it's kind of crazy that you say that. And a lot of the same, you know, mentality that you have towards raising your daughters. I'm definitely on the same, man. Like the way I talk to y'all here, the way I talk to my friends, anybody I'm doing business with is pretty much the way I talk to my family, you know. It's kind of crazy. Like I just keep it 100, man, and try to be like as authentic as I can to them, real life in the flesh shit, man, because they're gonna see a reflection of themselves in me, and I see it all the time, you know, every day as a father. So that's amazing, man. I appreciate that. Kong, what's good, my brother? We're doing introductions, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on as a father, how many kids, all that good stuff, and whatever else you want to share.
What up, everybody? What's going down? Shit, father of five right here. Got to start a lineup. You know how we do. So I got two daughters, actually. I got three sons and two daughters. My oldest daughter is my oldest child. She was my firstborn. She is 10 years old, and my
Damn,
yeah, yes,
she
sir.
was pregnant for freaking 7 years, G.
Yeah, bro. Exactly, man. It was going down. I was putting in work. Nah, actually, so I just had twins. So my twins' birthday is actually tomorrow on the 1st. And so I had a boy and a girl. So that's the other daughter right there. So I got a far stretch of, you know, I got one who thinks she's grown and the other one who thinks she's grown too. You know what I'm saying? Trying to walk and run the house and shit. So the personalities amongst all five of them is, I mean, for anybody who has multiple kids, you already know it's a trip how you could produce so many different personalities. They're like essentially nothing alike. Um, my oldest actually is an artist. I'm trying to help her out. She's creating a comic book right now. So I've been guiding her through the steps of creation, how it's supposed to work, teaching her how to be efficient rather than, you know, most people just get out there, say they want to do something and be all over the place. So right now she has for her comic book, we had her create like the whole outline of the story. And she's finishing up her character sheet. She should be done with that probably today or tomorrow. Actually, she's drawn on a graphics tablet because I noticed she had a talent for this. So I went and I bought her a Huion tablet. So we official out here. Yeah, I mean, ain't nothing to report on my younger daughter. You know, she's just learning how to walk. That's her thing right now, bringing in the teeth. You feel me? So that's where it's at, man. I'm just blessed to have so many children and blessed to be able to see both sides of it, being a, you know, father to sons and a father to daughters as well.
That's what's up, man. I love it. I love it. Jay Harmony, I see we got you in as a speaker, man. Do you want to pop in, man? Do you have daughters that you want to tell us about? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely, guys. Yeah, like you just said. Sorry. Oh, that's something in my throat. Sorry about that. Yeah, like you just said, I'm Jay Harmony, and yeah, I'm also a proud dad of a 12-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. Um, my daughter, like you guys said, I'm gonna echo what you said. You know, she's just like me. I'm scared sometimes because she's like identical, and sometimes I see like the parts that I don't like about myself in her. I'm like I worried, but I guess that's just part of life. And then my son, you know, he loves technology like me. He wants to be a robot engineer, and they're two different people totally. And I would say I'm happy I'm here because my journey was not like you guys, and I identify with the gentleman that spoke on how important it is to have both parents in the family when you're growing up. I didn't have my dad growing up. My mom was a superwoman. She raised me and my sister and my older brother who lived with his dad, from a distance by herself. Fortunately, she didn't have luck with men. Some women, they just don't find that person that's willing to take care of them. But, she raised three great children. We're all professionals. We're all doing great. And we take care of her. But to this day, there's things that I tell myself, wow, I wish I had my dad guiding me. Because when you learn to survive on your own, you got to figure these things out. But going through that experience, also, I remember when I was young and ready to have a family, made me make sure that I didn't do that to my kids. I wanted to be there for them because I didn't have that and I missed it. So I could definitely vouch for how important it is to have both parents because to this day, I still have things that I question. Like if my dad would have been around, maybe I would have done this better. Maybe I would have known what to do in this situation a little better. I would have acted better. My character would have been a little better in this situation. Little stuff like that. But overall, either way, we have to live with the cards we're dealt with. So, you got to move forward. But yeah, definitely be there for your kids because I'm doing it because I know how important it is, especially for us, like the gentlemen Latinos, is a little harder. So we got to work even harder to achieve these things. So, I'm my daughter, for example, I'm teaching her everything I know as a dad. I'm teaching her how to create the contracts. She's sketching art, we're creating an NFT. And actually, during the pandemic, it was very hard for us. We were one of those families that really created a bubble. We didn't go nowhere for 2 years and didn't see anyone. So we found ways to basically keep our sanity. So I picked up Web3, during the pandemic because I wanted to find something to do with my daughter. So I bought her a sketch pad and she started sketching and I got motivated. I started to create 3D models for her, uploaded it to OpenSea, got a little curious, found hash slips a year ago, and then the rest is history. But, it's like everything happens for a reason. So I'm happy in a way, that we can bond because of Web3. And I'm happy I'm in this space because it's great to be amongst other dads. So, yeah, thanks for hosting this space.
Of course, man. Of course, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think, I'm very proud to be able to put you gentlemen together and have this type of conversation, man. And anybody that's joining us in, if you're listening in and you want to come up and speak, please feel welcome to. You don't have to be a girl dad, whoever it may be. You might have something to say. You might have a question for us, whatever it may be. I just want to have a good conversation with everybody. And gentlemen, I like I said earlier, I'm a father of four girls, two sets of twins. And I just want to kind of start everything off here with a story of when my daughters were first born. My first set was born. Like I said, they're 15 years old now. And when they were first born, I was like in a very different place than I am now. Obviously, this was 15 years ago. So if we didn't change from 15 years, then, that might be a big problem. So that's kind of obvious. But the fact of, being a father to girls also made a huge impact on my life, and it really changed my mindset on a lot of things. Like Jay Harmony said, his mom was a superwoman, and I kind of feel like that's kind of how I always looked at my mom. My father's always been in my life, but his presence was not as strong as my mom's. And, she made a huge impact on me and the way I move and the way I do things and the way I think about things. So I guess me having four daughters, it just kind of, it just fit in perfectly in a sense. But when my daughters were born, man, I was at the time I was, I've been working on music for like 25 years. I've been releasing music independently, so I was always doing that. But unfortunately, it was never to the point where I was able to like not do nothing else, So at the time, I was working at a Home Depot, and I was just kind of starting out, trying to figure some things out there, and like I just needed a job basically, And I remember I was working in the plumbing department at the time, and I was talking to my direct supervisor. We were just talking about something, and I got a phone call, and it was my wife, and I knew that she was at the doctor to just for a regular checkup. And she was probably about maybe, I don't know, I forget how many months apart along she was, but it was basically time for us to find out, you know, what was going on, you know, as far as the process goes and everything, how it was going along. And she calls me, and I was kind of like concerned because I didn't expect a call. Like I thought everything was just cool, so I was kind of worried. I saw that phone, and he saw that concern in my face, and I was like, man, it's my wife. He's like, oh, go ahead, grab it, you're good, you know. So I grabbed the call, and she's like kind of like quiet, and I'm like, yo, wait a minute, man. I was getting bad nervous, and then she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. I'm at work. What's up? Everything okay? She's like, yeah, we're good. We're good. I just wanted to tell you that, you know, the doctor's, you know, telling me that he sees two hearts. And I'm like, what you mean? And she's like, we're having twins. And I was like, my jaw dropped. And I was like, wait a minute, we're having twins? Like, what do you mean we're having twins? She's like, we're having twins, like two babies in there. And I was like, no, that's crazy. So I was like bugging out, man, bugging out. It was just so crazy. And it was so crazy to me that from the time that she told me that to the time that to the day that they were born, it was like a whole whirlwind. Like everything was like nonstop. Like I didn't have no time to think or breathe or even prepare for like the moment that they came. And I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but when you have twins, like it's very, very unlikely that you're gonna go full term with twins because you have multiples. They come sooner, you know. So my daughters were born. They were supposed to be born on the February 14th. Actually, it's funny, is on Valentine's Day, and they ended up being born on December 18th. So they were pretty early, and we were pretty worried about that too. So what happened is the day that they were born, we went to the doctor, and it was a regular checkup once again, and the doctor did not like the condition that my wife was in. He told her, hey, listen, I'm gonna need you to stay, and we're gonna have to induce tomorrow morning. And we were like, whoa, like just bugging out. So I basically just ran home to, you know, get a bag for her to stay and for me to stay because obviously I was going to stay there with her. And I'm in the shower getting ready to go back to the hospital, and my phone rings. And my wife's like, yo, the doctor's going to induce now. And I'm like, what do you mean he's going to induce now? Like, he said tomorrow morning. She's like, no, he said he's got to do it now. He just doesn't like the way you know, my condition right now. And she had this condition called like preeclampsia. It's like basically you get like diabetes, like when you're pregnant to a certain point because of the way your body's changing. It's crazy shit, man. And it just goes along too with being a dad. Like salute to women, man. Like they go through some wild ass shit when they give birth, man. It's just some fucking insane shit. Like I wouldn't want to fucking deal with. You know what I'm saying? So salute to my wife and just to women, period, man. It just makes me give more respect to my you know, my daughters, my mom, my wife, everybody. But like I said, she had this condition, and the doctor had to induce. So that, man, so I'm like literally like kind of grabbed the phone while I was in the shower. She tells me that, like I'm like drying off and getting dressed really quick, dude. I'm speeding to the hospital, man. We were probably like 20, maybe 25 minutes from the hospital, and I don't even know how the hell I didn't get pulled over at all. I don't know. Maybe I did. I kept fucking going, and the cop just fucking said, fuck it, this motherfucker's crazy, and didn't stop me. I don't know. Maybe that could have possibly happened. I was just so out of my mind and just focused on getting to the hospital that I just ended up going. And man, I made it like right. I didn't make it on time basically to be in the delivery room, you know, and man, I was so upset, man. It was just so crazy. I was so upset I didn't make it on time to get into the delivery room. But right when I got there, you know, the nurse basically told me that, you know, the doctor was already in there, and you know, I had to pretty much wait. I couldn't go in the room. So, you know, my daughters, like just a few minutes after I got there, they were born, and it was nuts, man. It was nuts. You know, that whole experience like that. Like I said, it's insane how the day that my wife told me that we were having twins to the day that they just were there in front of me, it was a fucking complete whirlwind. And especially that day of, it was just wild, man. So to have that experience, and like I said, you know, to have that perspective from the outside, obviously, like I didn't carry them. I didn't do anything like that. You know, it's just so crazy, like being a father, because you just realize the strength of women, man. it's so fucking crazy. Like I said, the things they got to go through, the physical part, and just imagine like the mental shit that they got to go through when their body's going through those many things. They're carrying human beings inside their body. Like it's a wild um just the idea is wild, man. So to experience it from my end is just it's just wild enough, man. And yeah, man, like I said, that was pretty much my experience from my first set of twins. And that's probably the best way I could put it, because to be honest with you, like I said, a lot of the thoughts and moments that I had in between that, like they're kind of not even there no more. I honestly can't even pull them out. I don't know where those memories are. It's just, it was such a whirlwind up until that point. But yeah, man, if you guys want to pop in, man, you got anything else to share, you want to tell a story, or you have anything to
Yeah,
say about that, please do.
yeah, that's wild. I do know preeclampsia is obviously in the medical field, so yeah, that's wild. So like for my thing, my son, I was there for when he was born. My daughter, however, I was deployed. So this is how like, I really feel like I talked my wife up into being pregnant. So like friends were talking to us and they was like, man, y'all should have another kid. Like, look at your son. He's so handsome. He's so well mannered, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, man, I could really go for a girl. Like I really want a girl. Well, I was getting ready to deploy, so I was just like, it is what it is. Everybody, I'm about to deploy. I'm about to be gone for a year. So, I was trying to get it in. So I got it in, right? So I go to get this vaccine. I needed to get my smallpox shot. Well, I really didn't want the smallpox shot. So I'm filling out the survey, the questionnaire, and I look and I see that it says if you or your significant other is pregnant, or if you have a baby in the house that's 2 months or younger, not to get the vaccine. So I was like, say less, because it was a live virus. So I was like, she might be. So I checked it, right? Like, because, I ain't want the shot. So here it is. I go down range. I'm overseas. I'm in country for maybe about 2 weeks. And I'm getting ready to go out on a mission. My wife messages me and goes, hey, what you doing? I'm like, about to go on a mission. What's up? She's like, you sitting down and standing up? I was like, well, shit, I'm sitting down right now. She was like, good. Sends me 2 pictures, both positive pregnancy tests. So I just start laughing. And she calls me back and she's like, it's not funny. And I know you're laughing. And I was like, I am. And it is funny. Like, and so basically I talked my wife into being talked her up into being pregnant. Like I spoke that junk into the universe basically. So then when they was like, when do you want to take your R&R? Because my first deployment was a year long, so they gave us R&R, which is basically 2 weeks off. So I was like, well, shit, I'll take mine in 9 months. And they was like, that's very specific. I was like, well, my wife's pregnant, and I'm trying to get there, right? So this is where I knew that my daughter was going to be a handful. I was supposed to be in the country. I was supposed to get back to the United States on October 29th. She was supposed to be born November 1st. She was born October 27th. I was like, so she couldn't wait to make her debut until I got home. I'm in trouble. And, as she's 7 now. She's about to be 8. She's a daddy's girl. She's just ridiculously smart. She's a hooper. She started playing basketball. She used to play basketball with us, and she used to watch me like I would watch. She would watch basketball with me and my wife while we watched the games and stuff. But she has my attitude. So like my son, he got the chill version. He got the chill side of me. My daughter, complete and total opposite. I watched her, like my grandmother used to watch kids, and she used to watch my daughter for a little bit while I was because she lives with me or whatever. I take care of my grandmother. So while I was at work, she would take care of my daughter or whatever. And so like I was off, and my grandmother was watching this little boy, and the little boy just wouldn't stop crying. My daughter was all of a year and a half. She picks up this baby's bottle, takes it over to him, hits him over the head with it, and then shoves it in his mouth for him to be quiet. I was like, oh no, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I already know, like, she's the one I'm gonna be getting phone calls because she done beat some kid up in school. Like, I know that's gonna be her, but she's a daddy's girl, and she's like always like it's all me. And it's so funny, like, because my wife, she feels some kind of way because both my kids look like me. And she feels some type of way because she hears it all the time. But I got, say I got, her goddaughter, her goddads, and uncles and stuff. They all on go. You know what I'm saying? They ready because I got my little light skinned baby with curly hair and colored eyes. Like, I already know that I'm in for trouble. So I got my friends on deck, and they already know what it is. We already talking about how we gonna do the scene from
Bad Boys.
yeah, we was gonna do Bad Boys, but the other one with 50 Cent, Den of Thieves. That's it. Where he pull old boy in with the and he's got all his homies in the garage. Yeah, that's gonna be us. Like, but no, like it's crazy to watch their dynamic. Like my girl, like she definitely changed me. My son changed me too. Helped me get a little more focused, a little more settled down. Because before them, I was reckless. I'm from the street, so it is what it is, right? My daughter, like, you know what I'm saying, like, they don't really see that side. They see me, but that's also, a testament to me growing as well, right? They don't have to see that side because I've grown, I've matured, I'm a better man, I'm not what I once was, right? And so I always put my best foot forward, even like when me and my wife have disagreements, right? Because I don't like to call it arguments, we have disagreements, right? So when we have our disagreements, we make sure that we don't do it in front of the kids, but if it does happen to be in front of the kids, we never yell at each other. It's always a conversation. And I grew up in a single family home, right? You know what I'm saying? My mom took care of me and raised 4 kids. I say that my baby sister, me and her are 12 years apart. She was my first child because she went everywhere with me. She was like my child. Um, so I had a little advanced help when it comes to raising kids, right? So my daughter, I want to be the best man I can be to show her what a true man should be, right? So like I go out of, I do everything that I do for my wife, I do for her. So like when I pay for my wife to go get her nails done, I send my daughter with her, right? I take my daughter on daddy-daughter dates, where it's just me and her. Um, I do different things to show her what a man should do and how a man should treat her. That's my little queen, my little princess, my little diva, even though she's a little sassy sometimes. That's still my girl, right? That's my little daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think John was saying that, we're our daddy, our daughter's first love and our son's first heroes. You know what I'm saying? For those of us who have sons, right? We're our son's first heroes, our daughter's first love. So, and with me having that on both sides of the fence, you know what I'm saying? I have to make sure that I put my best foot forward. I'm the best man and the best father that I can be. And I took advantage, I took lessons that I learned from not having my father around on how not to be a dad. And, I had my uncles and my older cousins, around to be father figures. And, even, examples from my mother, you know what I'm saying, as far as parenting styles, and then, that's how I developed my parenting style. I don't even have to hit my kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just look at them and they know what's up. Like, but that's because, I've instilled a certain way of life, in them from a very young age to where now it's just like, I don't have any issues out of them. My son, he plays basketball and plays the cello and he's the techie one, right? He makes video games and he plays video games and that whole nine. My daughter, she's the hooper. She wants to, go play in the dirt. She wants to go to the zoo. Like, she loves the animals and stuff. And so, like, I really feel like they literally just took my personality and split it in half and each one got a half of it. But yeah, I feel like all
They
dads
got
should
all of
be.
it. You're just seeing half right now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's crazy to see though, like, because I can recognize things in them that I recognize in myself, or I see myself, or I know of myself. So it's just wild watching them grow up, and their dynamics, and they are super super tight, in which I love their relationship, because she won't let nobody mess with her brother, and he won't let nobody mess with his sister. Like, there's a 4-year gap, and I love that they have a 4-year gap, but their relationship is outstanding, and and I really, it's a blessing to be able to see that, and a blessing to be able to know that I had a hand in that, in my kids. Big shout out to my wife, because obviously I couldn't do it by myself, but um, it's just wild to see. And my daughter is just, she's amazing, and being a little black girl, I have to give her, these extra tools in life, that, some other kids won't get, or need at that fact, like I have to instill in them, you know what I'm saying, you know, be thankful for who you are and your color and your nationality and your background and your heritage. Embrace it. Don't let nobody, try to taint your vision of you, you know. I have to instill these things in my kids, I have to have these hard talks with them that other parents might not have to. But because of who I am and what we are and, you know what I'm saying, and how I feel like, they need to be governed and parented, I have to have these conversations because nobody else is going to do it for you. The school system's not going to do it, you know. So I make sure that I do it. I instill these things, a love of oneself, self-love. I instill that in them and show them how to, love themselves, you know, um, both sides, you know what I'm saying, my son and my daughter, right? So that can't nobody come into their lives and try to steer them away from what I have, instilled in them and what they have developed themselves, right? Because it's all about us planting the seed and them watering it and growing, right? We always want our kids to be better than us, but we have to instill that initial seed in them and allow them to nurture it and grow. Like, we will keep them on the right path whenever they stray a little too far, but we got to allow them the opportunity to make these mistakes because the way I see it, they're not mistakes. They're just lessons, right? Learn from everything and regret nothing. That's how I see life, right? I don't regret any of the mistakes that I've made in my life, but I have learned from them because they're all lessons and that's how I see it. I don't see it as a failure. You know what I'm saying? It's just a stepping stone into the right direction. I just know what won't work. So now I just try a new plan to figure out what works. And I do that for my kids, I may give them a problem and like, hey, figure it out, because I want them to develop those critical thinking skills that, I'm saying that we develop, I feel comfortable in saying this as we as fathers, I'm saying, I'm pretty sure we all have colorful backgrounds. These things that we learned in the streets, I'm saying that they don't get taught in the schools. You got to find creative ways to instill that in your kids without them having to relive what you went through. Right. So I do that with my kids, put them in situations where they've got to figure it out. And I allow them to do that, Uh, but yeah, no, I love being a girl dad, I was a little nervous at first, not gonna lie, but um, I had some good support. I had a good support system. You know what I'm saying? I had some older friends who have daughters and help me, and you know what I'm saying, give me that I can reach out to and they can give me tips and tricks. You know what I'm saying? If I'm having an issue, um, that's another thing. Like I really feel like as dads, we really need, especially girl dads, we really need a avenue or a group or, you know what I'm saying, an outlet or something that we can reach out to one another and maybe pick each other's brains, um, get some tips and some, if we're going through a situation, hell, even just somebody to vent to that has gone through similar issues with raising girls. Like there's just stuff that dads raising girls are going to go through that dads not raising girls aren't going to go through. So, we need somebody to talk to, what I'm saying, that are like-minded, which shout out to Visual for doing this because, like, this is really dope that we all were able to link up and connect with one another so that we can have this platform. We all, we can follow each other and reach out to one another because we all know now that we are girl dads. And if, we come across a situation that I might not have gone through that, maybe one of the other fellas have gone through and I can reach out to them like, hey man, like I'm having this issue. So this is super awesome. I'm glad that we have this opportunity. So big shout outs to you for that, my man. I feel like I've gotten a little long-winded. So if anybody else
Of
want to step
course,
up, feel
man.
free.
Nah, you're good, brother. You're good. And of course, man, honestly, I think like, obviously, this is, I think for the most part, man, we're all connected through, crypto and NFTs and the Web3 world. And, one thing about myself, man, I did a lot of things before this and I'm still doing a lot of things during this. This just happens to be another facet of what I'm, you know, moving my art and business into. But we're bigger than a lot of things that we think about, man, and then we're part of. So I think talking about things like this is extremely important because I don't think this is very common, and I think that's why this is one of the most important things, that this is not very common for a group of men who are all fathers to women to be able to talk to each other about their experiences, share these experiences, and man, probably even learn something from one another. And and I think that's amazing. That's great. And it's just I'm proud, like I said, to be able to do things like this, man. I think it's very special, and I'm definitely proud to be able to be part of this and just bring us all together, man. I think it's amazing to have these conversations. So no doubt, Marcus, man, I appreciate you being here, and thanks for sharing, man. If one of you guys got anything else to add to that type of conversation, man, or anything else, please feel free to jump in. Otherwise, man, I'll bring something else for us. Kong, if you got a
Bro,
story. John, if you want to speak up. Anybody.
I was just gonna say, I noticed that the title of this space was Girl Dads, and Bullish went ahead and snuck on in here. This is our safe space, Bullish. You're not supposed to be in here. No, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, we love Bullish. Matter of fact, man,
Bring her up. Bring her up.
real talk. Because, like I said, man, to me, it's amazing. Like I said, that we're able to have this conversation. And I love the fact that Kong, he just had to pull out and just mess with Bullish because he knows it. He knows how we do, man. We love Bullish, man. That's the homegirl right there.
She snuck into the boys only clubhouse.
It's the boys only club. But you know what, though, man? I feel like this isn't Bullish's first rodeo show, man, in the sneaking into the boys club.
Okay.
So that's what she does, bro.
I'm on the side of the road, but I will say this. You cannot say that. Reason why single mothers are doing both jobs. So I've raised my daughter, mom and dad. So I'm part-time dad. So I know there's a lot of single moms out there as well, holding it down, doing both jobs, not effing easy. And my daughter is almost as bullish as me and alpha as me. And I feel sorry for the guy she ends up with because she definitely wears the pantalones.
Whoa. No, I'm just
Oh my goodness.
I
We
did
love
want to
it.
add
We love to
something.
have you here, Bullish.
So
We
I'm
love
just
to
going to
have
listen
you
in,
here.
but I got to get back to driving my bus so I can get home so I can, I don't know if you're still going to run the space or what we're going to do after, but yeah.
We might be around. Just holler at me when you get home.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't see me in here, holler
All
at me.
right,
But
cool.
yeah, please listen in. I'd love to have
Enjoy
you.
the
You
rest
know
of the
it.
space. I'll be listening. But don't
Will
be
do.
talking about me because I want to jump in and I'm driving.
I'm gonna get you at the end. I'm gonna get long winded, and then I'm gonna mention you at the end so you could jump in if you need to. So, no, I just wanted to add to what Marcus was saying and everything like that, and it was something you was bringing up that crossed my mind. And we two brothers, man, so it's like it's a little bit different. I'm sure everybody has their own experiences, but you want to take the things that you went through as a child, the things that a child shouldn't go through, and help your children not experience those things. Obviously I'm a man, so I'm not going to go through the same experiences that a woman would, but I just think about the situations that I witnessed. I have two sisters, two older sisters that I know of. I don't know if I got any other sisters out there, but out of the two that I know of and I grew up with, I know the insecurities that they grew up with. I knew, the experiences that they had when it came to relationships, when it came to weird men in general, and just the way that the world is going to perceive a woman. And so for me, what I want to say is that when I found out that I was going to have a daughter, it was never a thing of like so much fear, like, oh man, I'm going to have a daughter. Like, this is going to be a lot to handle. It more so, I felt like a privilege because I felt like, all right, so I get the opportunity to be here in a female's life and help her with the things that I saw. The same type of privilege that I would feel for my sons. It's obviously I have a lot more expertise there, but I got eyes. You know what I mean? I see what I see. I think I got it, somewhat somewhat of a grip on how the world spins and why it's doing what it does. So what I try to do with my daughter is I take into account, for whatever odd reason, some sidetracking here, for whatever odd reason, my entire life I've had a lot of women share a lot of secrets with me about things for no fucking reason. I don't know why, but then that helped me understand women more. So I take things that women have told me and I apply it to my daughter. Like I know that women feel this way about this. So I'm trying to strengthen her in that area. I'm trying to pretty much put those metal plates on any area of her that could be a weak area. You know, the same way that, again, the same way that you would do for your son. As a man, you know what those insecurities are off top because you are a man, but you don't know what they are for a woman unless you've had a woman tell you these things. So I just want to say, you know, it's a real privilege to be able to be a girl dad and to teach the things to my daughter that I'm able to teach her. And I can't wait to actually have that opportunity to teach those things to, you know, like I said, my youngest daughter. She don't understand nothing right now. She just learned how to walk, but, you know, she's killing that. You know, girls advance faster than boys. So my son, he's doing a little temptation split, sliding around. My daughter, you know, she's finally standing and, you know, figuring out how to walk. But when it comes down to it, I expect my sons to be there, you know, look out for your sisters in the areas where they need a man there to look after them the same way. Both of my sisters are older than me, and I'm still there, you know, for them like that. And my sister's been there for me. You know, my oldest sister is, my oldest sister is a very strong woman. She actually was number one in the whole state of California for shot put when she was in high school, just to give you an idea of you know, how she's coming and shit. There were plenty of times when I was, I don't know, around like 8, 9, you know, 11, 12, where maybe I would have like older boys trying to fuck with me and she'd be there threatening them and they would actually, you know, like, oh, we don't want that smoke and everything, you know. So I just expect my kids to all be there for one another, and I'm trying to raise a bunch of strong kids. And I don't really put the barrier there of just, you know, I'm going on, but I don't put the barrier there of just like boy or girl. I expect them all to have that strength, that resilience, you know, and support for family. But last thing I'm gonna end with, surprisingly, I'm not gonna talk shit about you bullish. The last thing that I'm gonna end with here is that it is awkward being a Black father. I think Marcus could relate to this. Um, the level of like racism and whatnot that I grew up experiencing, and I'm talking about as a child. I'm talking about being 8 years old and having like a 30-year-old man calling you a nigger, shit like that. I'm talking about, you know, getting into trouble as a kid, you know, knowing it's my fault or whatnot, and then having police, you know, harass you and whatnot. I actually had the privilege to live in a bunch of different type of neighborhoods. I lived in like heavily Hispanic neighborhoods. I lived in white neighborhoods. I lived in like pure Black neighborhoods, all of them, Asian neighborhoods, all of them. So I got to see the way that different cultures interact with like law enforcement, with one another, the different educational systems and whatnot. And the thing that always tripped me out growing up was like the way that I would watch like law enforcement just give a pass to, you know, any white kid. Because to this day, I have a white friend from when I used to live in Mission Viejo for like 6 months. And I made a homie out there when I was like 12. And this is like one of my best friends to this day. And I don't live over there anymore. And we would always be exchanging stories. He's told me so many stories of passes that these white kids get where I'm like, damn, had that been a Black kid, he would have been shot for some simple shit like that. You would have been shot, you know, handcuffed, thrown on the floor, all types of stuff. So it makes it difficult because what most people may not know is that you have a level of censorship that you want to, you know, put on your kids. You may say, my kid is not old enough to know about this shit. I don't want to have to teach them about this. But it's different when you Black because it's like, I have to tell my kids about this shit because the world doesn't give a fuck. You know, I remember being fucking 10 years old, being treated like I was 18 or 19 and being stuck, confused, sitting there looking at people like, what? Like, I'm a kid. Why you guys treating me like this? And it's because of that you know, a lot of you in here are older than me. The reason that I'm able to interact with a lot of you guys is because I was forced to grow up quick because I was being treated like I was older. So my options were, you know, eat or get ate. So I fucking matured very fucking quick. And I have a fear of allowing my kids to be kids sometimes. Sometimes I have to get them to mature quicker because I got love for them in the house, you know. But when they step outside into the world, it's no love out there. and I got to make sure that they're prepared for it. And it's just something to note. If anybody didn't know how different it is when you got black kids, it's like they're almost the enemy outside. That shit you guys see on like TV and everything, that's not made up. I lived it. I'm sure Marcus went through it. He could tell you
I
his stories.
lived it.
All that.
I got stories for days. I lived it.
You,
I completely agree with everything you're saying. Like I know what it feels like because I've been there. I've done it. You know, I grew up with getting the looks and like um, being followed around in the store and not knowing why. Like until I got older, right? These are conversations my mother didn't want to have with me. But I had to learn on my own. Like I found these things out as I got older. I didn't know what racism was when I was a kid, but as I got over, I found out real quick and real hard what it was. And so like just like Colin was saying, man, like we got to prepare our kids for these things going out into the world. Like it was hard for me to sit down with my 11-year-old son and explain to him like, hey, you have to be careful because you're black. Like it was the stuff that I had to deal with and things that I've had to talk to him about. Like it's not as easy as one would think. Knowing the stuff that we've grown up and we've experienced, we don't want that for our kids, but at the same time, there's not much we can do about it, but prepare them for what is to come.
No,
I
needed that, but I'm gonna try and end this. But like all I'm getting at here is just that I recognize all the time. I mean, it's even as simple as a fact of when I take my my son's playing baseball right now, so I go to take him to play baseball, and when my son's fucking up, I have to kind of make remarks to him in a different way. I kind of got to hold back. I can't say exactly what I want to say because, first of all, we damn near like the minority anywhere that we go. So I feel like I ain't trying to be the one fucking black person out here, yelling at my kids and going on there like, oh, here goes the angry black man. You feel me?
Exactly.
You feel me? Like, but at the same time, it's so different parenting as a black person in a country where like you're like the super minority almost everywhere that you go. And so but I'm just privileged, man. I got thick skin. Shit doesn't faze me, and I'm hoping to instill that into my kids, that they have thick skin and none of this shit phases them. And I guess they're going to be very fucking mature because they don't have a choice. You don't got a choice in this country but to grow up quick. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, man. And you know what? It's crazy, man. I feel everything you're saying 100%, man. Obviously, I'm not black. I don't have those same experiences, but being Latino, Mexican, and Cuban, my wife's Puerto Rican, we definitely have to deal with certain things that a lot of other people wouldn't have to deal with. Obviously, if you're not white, you're the minority. That's plain and simple, right? No matter what, no matter where you come from. And, it's just bugged out because those that have met me in person, man, my skin tone, you couldn't tell I was Latino, right? But my wife, on the other hand, man, she's very dark. And you could obviously tell she is. And it's tripped out to realize the way things are because she's darker than me, and it's shitty, man. It's shitty. It's really shitty, especially as my wife and to realize too that my daughters, because they're all darker than me because I'm like a fucking ghost damn near. It's fucking horrible. I guess I didn't get enough sun when I was a kid. But it's tripped out to have that perspective, man, as a father and realize that not only are they women, but then they got to deal with that fact that they have the darker skin tone, and to this day I just don't understand even why that's ever an issue in the first place, man. My mind's fucking boggled by shit like that. But fucking history, right? I mean, there's so many things that prove it. And but yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, for you guys to share that perspective of it, because that obviously adds another element to being a father of women, and we had to deal with race issues too. And I see that John's got his hand up. He's had his hand up for a little bit. What's good, John?
What's up? So I'm Puerto Rican, born on the island, came here when I was 10. So I'm a little darker, but I'm more olive tone, curly, crazy hair. Now I wear my hair on purpose like an afro because I want to fucking stick out and I want to make you feel uncomfortable if I walk into an all-white space. So I approach things a little different, and that's, you know what? That's very unfortunate that you young black males with your black daughters had to deal with that crazy shit. I mean, I can't say that I dealt with it on that level because I really didn't. They didn't know what I was because I had curly hair. I spoke Spanish. I wasn't Mexican. They didn't understand what the fuck I was, right? My wife is Ecuadorian, but she's darker skinned, but she's more of an Indian. So like that natural dark long hair. So my daughters, one looks like her, one looks like me. It's fucking lovely. Um, my approach with her on that note, the times I felt it and the times that she's noticed, like the clicks. So in my house, I call it the click, right? They go to a majority white school. My kids are more in we've done well for ourselves. I'm also in real estate and all that. So I live in Humboldt Park. My kids go to school in Lincoln Park. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Chicago Spaces. These aren't like cheap areas. So my kids are exposed to a lot of nice things that my nieces and nephews, on the other hand, I got a sister that lives in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm down there every other month. I got a sister that's here. I got a sister that's in Puerto Rico. So we're constantly flowing around everywhere. Like I said, I got 5 sisters. And one of my sisters is half black. So her mom is black. So it's crazy because despite having stepsisters or whatever, I've never really looked at it like that, right? My approach with that is, if you see it, call it out, because it's got no fucking place in 2022, like at all. Like that shit needs to be dead by now. We all fucking live here. So that is something that I strongly, strongly push on my daughters, where I'm like, you push fucking back. You stand your ground, be righteous. Don't be out of character. Keep your shit true. And you know when you right, they can't silence you on anything like that. Fortunately for me, my daughter has been a pretty good leader. Yo, man, the girls of color got the sauce. So all these girls are going to go through is that these privileged girls are going to look and be like, well, they don't look like every single Karen or Molly or, you know what I'm saying, across the board. Our daughters uniquely have characteristics with good skin tone. So in reality, they're almost a little jealous of the fact that they're a little different, right? So that was the approach that I tried to break it down to my kids, not in the sense of hate, because you teach hate to a child. The child doesn't know hate. You got to teach a child that. So for them ignorant parents that grew up learning that bullshit, I really try to cancel that on my kids, and I really explain exactly how I'm explaining now. I tell my children, like, they don't know any better. There's people that have never been exposed to people of color. They ain't had a black friend. They ain't been over a black friend or a brown friend or a Latino friend house. When you walk in there, you smelling like pozole, or you're smelling like whatever the fuck we're cooking that day, because we got that house just reeking of food. So a lot of that culture shit, they have, what's their culture? Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? They're fucking Hallmark holidays. So when you start thinking about what the culture is in America versus culture that we bring from our families of people of color, not saying anything against white or anything like that, but people of color specifically, because we're on that topic, yo, we rich in culture. They wish they understood what the fuck, what, wait, what? Why there's 40 of y'all in each other's faces screaming? How do you understand what type of fucking conversation is going on in here? But that's just how we do. That's how we show love in the house. You walk into my house, my mom's screaming at me, and she's 3 feet away. But that's just my mom's. You know what I mean? So a lot of that individuals don't understand. So they're quick to judge because they don't know. So I really just keep that in the open. This is the approach I take with my children. To look at them as like, shame on you that you can't see this perspective. So that way, at least my daughter is in a position, or either one is in a position of like a higher seat, looking down at the fact that that person was that ignorant to ignore, and or to have empathy, or to even just, you know, there's times where nobody needs to say nothing and just listen to an individual. You know, it's crazy because I learn every day, especially having a teenage daughter. Dog, learn every day, and that's something that I'm super appreciative, super appreciative.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real right there. You know, it's funny, but it's so real that, you know, like you're saying, your mom's 3 feet away from you yelling. And it's like, it's just so real because that's just how we do, right? Like you said, it's how we do. That's literally how we communicate. And the reason it's so funny to me, man, is this shit that we literally bring up here in my crib, you know, like my wife will just, she's passionate, just like I'm passionate. And we're saying something to our kids because we speak in this like very like solid way to them, you know, because we want to communicate that, you know, what you have to, like, we're passionate people, you know that, you know, if you're from an island, if you have those type of roots, man, if the sun is in you, man, and you were raised by that sun, and like you said, John, the culture that we have is so different from everybody else's, no matter, you know, what your background is, just we have culture that people that are raised on, like you said, these Hallmark holidays just don't. And it's just plain and simple. It's a fact. You can't even argue that shit, you know? And I just feel like when you have that background, man, you have it in you to just be real strong when you vocalize and real strong when you express yourself and very passionate and you speak in these tones that, you know, they're kind of scary to a lot of people, you know? And you know, that happens here in my home, and we say something to our kids, and then, you know, they get all like, oh my God, you guys are yelling at us all the time, da 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 da. We're like, dude, we're not yelling at you. Like, we literally just said, you know, you did this, like, make sure you don't do it that way. It's got to be done this way, whatever the case may be. And then, you know, they're slowly but surely getting it. And it's just tripped out to have those conversations, you know, in my home, and let alone to always think that, man, these type of things happen everywhere I go. Cause, and dude, imagine, you know, like you said, John, people see you and they're not sure. You got the olive tone, you got the afro, you speak Spanish, you got this certain swag to you, you know, and it's like people don't know what the fuck you are. And that's been me my whole fucking life.
I'm
Like, people don't know what the fuck I am. Like what is this guy?
225.
See, look at that. That's what I'm saying. And me, it's like me. You see me 100% when you see me. Like, I don't think there's probably been like maybe 5-6 people in my life that have been strangers that don't know me that have been like, bro, you are not white. Everybody else, 95% of everybody else in my life is like, oh, they thought I was white from the get. But then it's like, then they start to realize, nah, there's no way I should have even thought you were white, because you got this certain swag to you, and you talk a certain way, and you move a certain way, and you got these certain tones, and those are the things that if you know what I'm saying? And we recognize that from all our people, man, no matter who we are. And it's just tripped out that, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, like, we're talking about being fathers, we're fathers, and we have to not only deal with raising women, but we have to deal with raising women who have these, like you said, the sauce, and that's real. They have the sauce. They have the sauce because we have the sauce and we gave them the sauce, and it stands out. And we have to. It's almost like it's a fucking negative. We have to, because people fear that shit, and it's just tripped out, man, to have that approach in life that we have to deal with, because outside people look at it like it's a fucking threat, and it's just kind of bugged out, man, to have to put that into you know, as part of our repertoire when we're raising children. That's a threat to a lot of people, and it scares them.
Hey, you know, something I was trying to that I wanted to bring up was current climate. You know, like it's a different day and age from when we was growing up and from when our parents was growing up and whatnot. I personally feel like I had this conversation all the time where I feel like it's just a way weaker generation coming up, you know, versus when we was coming up. And at the same time, it's a lot of exploitation going on during this, you know, this what do you want to call it? Computer generation. You know, we were at the beginning of it, and now we're in the middle of it, and it's not even at the end yet. All of this social media and everything like that our kids are growing up with, what I'm noticing is like a spike in women who are not actually using their minds, their artistic minds, their talents, the things that they're gifted at, to actually get ahead. You see like a large fluctuation of, because it's society now. It's just like, yo, just get naked, you know, and make $1 million. these chicks on OnlyFans right now are fucking millionaires. Like literally, I was gonna say it as a joke, but they are literally millionaires on OnlyFans. And as a father, I know that nobody in this room, I can speak for everybody in this room, and nobody in this room want their daughter to blow up on OnlyFans. So I think that me as a father, one of the things that I stressed, since my kids were young, is I try and locate the talent that they have all across the board. So my daughter's been drawing since she was really young, and I tried everything. I tried to put her in soccer. I taught him how to box because I'm a boxer. I seen everything, and she's actually good at everything. She can do it. That my kids can do whatever. But the one thing that just kept spiking and standing out more than anything else is how much she just wanted to draw. And I just tried to gauge that, like where I was at when I was her age drawing, and I was not nearly as talented. Like I would put her drawing when she was like 4 or 5 years old, equivalent to me when I was like 12 or 13. So to me, I'm like, okay, if I had any common sense, I'm gonna hone in on this skill. And that's why, we're where we're at today, because I feel like we have a lot of women who feel like they aren't worth much. And so they just turn around and just go to their looks. And there's a lot of beautiful women, and I think that was the thing that scared me is my daughter's beautiful, man. Like her mother's beautiful. I'm not an ugly dude. So we've made some, good looking kids. And so to me, it's a relief that even though she's already 10, I can see her passionate about this art. She has something that she knows is a way to express herself. She's not going to be like a lot of these other modern women who are headed down the wrong path, I feel. I would just advise anybody who doesn't already know. I'm sure y'all already know. We all got older kids, though. Just hone in on that talent that they got and encourage it, and really be there for them with that. My daughter is always trying to show me like updates. Look what I drew today. Look what I drew today. And I'm trying to go as far as when I get the bread together, your boy going through a little financial, hiccup. But when I get my shit back right, I'm about to enroll her in an art class. Just everything to push it, not the traditional shit, not the, whatever she wants to do, she can do it. But like, I'm trying to get into something where the mind got to work, where she can actually stand there in a room, with men and women and be like, yo, this is what I did. And I don't care what type of man you are, you got to respect that. You can't sit there and be a hating ass dude. Like, oh, she's only getting that because she's a woman. Nah, my daughter's drawing good enough and she's outdrawing everybody. There's no gender line in who she's outdrawing, So, yeah, that's what I wanted to add with that. Just the struggle of the real struggle. You know what I mean? The struggle that's always been there from the beginning in time, that the real fear that any father would have for having a daughter, and how that is much more an uphill battle in today's climate more than any other time.
You got to also remember it was by design to take fathers out of the home, especially black men. That's what they by design. You fuck a house up, that family breaks apart. That's what we got right now. A bunch of screaming ass fucking kids with no parents in that ass. So, I mean, if I'm trying to pick apart a family, pull them apart. By incarceration alone, my dad, my uncles, I don't think there's not one male in my family that don't have a felony. That's real shit. Just sit and think about that shit. That's, you have your freedom, they drop a felony on you, and guess what? You a slave again. You gotta go work for some bullshit. So remember, fellas, this was all by design. So the fact that you guys are in your position, doing well, elevated your families, with your significant other, doing what you gotta do, even if it's not the mother kid, but you got a parent and you working it out, that is love. Ain't nobody breaking that shit. That shit will not happen again. That shit will not happen again. I am raising two of the most conservative motherfucking children on this planet, and they both know how to shoot my 40, and they both know where my shotgun's at, and they both know protocol. If some crazy shit happens, we know what's up. We know how to lock the house down, what position to take. Like, it's like that. We a unit. That's the bond. Imagine that's what they wanted to break, to create this chaos of lost generations of thinking that, government's there to help you. What do we got now? Section 8 housing, public housing, all that shit. That shit gets passed down. I could have Section 8. My daughter grow up, turn 21, have a child. I can pass my Section 8 to my child. And she could continue. What the fuck is that? You setting us up for failure.
That's a fucking trap. That's what that
That's
is.
That's a
complacency.
fucking
That's that.
trap.
They trying to perpetuate that generational, like, just, suppression. You know what I'm saying? Oppression. Like, if we keep them on the hook, like, they gonna need us forever. So, like, if you go,
They've been
if you gonna
gaslighting
trap,
us forever, yo.
Exactly.
Gaslighting us forever, thinking, yo, this is for you. 81 million votes for this last fucking knucklehead. You gonna tell me 81 million people voted for this knucklehead? Not that one white guy is better than the other. But for me, 70-year-old white guy is a 70-year-old white guy, whether he's got a red tie or a blue tie. Stop fucking with me. There's
Hey,
been
well,
enough.
what it comes down to on top of everything is that it's a bit traditionalism, and that's what I'm seeing. That's the thing that I'm trying to touch on with this current climate is that it's like it's a wide range of who it is to blame, but when we're talking about the people in general and the mindsets in general, it's like motherfuckers are just dumb nowadays. Everybody wants an easy route. They want an easy way to do something, and so they're not taking heed to what's obvious right in front of them. And the most obvious thing ever is that, your ancestors, the people in the generations before you, just like we want our descendants, they wanted what's best for you. They wanted you to thrive, just like you don't know your great grandchild or anything, but you want that motherfucker to be on top of the world. You're hoping that things you do today set them up. And the most powerful thing on this planet is knowledge and information. And how stupid would it be?
Facts.
You know what I mean? And how stupid would it be if you wrote all this information down, handed it down to the next generation and the next, and by the time you get to the fourth, they're like, I'm gonna try something different. I think I got this figured out. And I feel like that's what's going on with society today is that the traditionalism, the good parts of it at least, is just being wiped out. Like the traditional role of a man in the household, traditional role of a woman. There are good aspects to this. It's not all negative. Like they be trying to put that shit, on the TV and everything.
They want to make a woman work hard so that way they can tax that ass too. Remember in the 1950s, there was one person working in the home, and that man provided for a family of 4, even 5, owned a car, paid his taxes, and taxes were higher then. Taxes were much higher back in them times. What the fuck happened? You know what I mean? I know what happened. I just say those words just to provoke thought. This is, again, a little bit of me as I love provoking thought.
It's because we're in like Colin was saying, like we're in this instant gratification society where everybody wants it now. Nobody wants to work for it. So it's our job to instill that work ethic and that drive and that hunger into our children because, you know what I'm saying, not only is, you know what I'm saying, generational trauma, right? Like that stuff's encoded in your DNA. Like, being a black man and, you know what I'm saying, like I have generational trauma encoded in my DNA. But the same way I have this generational trauma encoded in my DNA, I can encode generational wealth, generational prosperity, generational drive, generational hunger into my kids, right? So that's what I'm trying to do because if I instill that into their DNA, it's just going to run through my lineage, right? Like that's the legacy that I'm leaving is I broke that generational curse. I got rid of those generational traumas, and I passed on generational wealth, generational knowledge, generational prosperity. You know what I'm saying? Good health. That's our jobs as fathers, right? Is to break those things that have been holding us down that are essentially encoded in our DNA to get rid of that stuff and pass on the things that we want, right? You know what I'm saying? Our job is to set the foundation. And it's our kids' job to continue the empire, right? So that's how I see it, right? So I make my kids work for what they got, right? there's no instant gratification. And, you know, I taught them, like, I just opened up a MetaMask wallet for my son because he likes tech stuff. So then I showed him, in the Weird People, one of the guys who has a custom 101. He's a streamer, a video game streamer, and my son loves that stuff, right? So I showed him that, showed him, you know, the connections and everything, and then, you know, I put him on, right? And then, you know, as he got old, you know, I'm telling him like, hey, there's games out here that you can play and you can earn money. So instead of buying that Fortnite skin or buying this battle pass or buying that, you know what I'm saying? Buy you an NFT, stake your NFT, play the NFT games, make you some more money. Then you can upgrade your computer to where you want it. You know, different stuff like that. You know, I do the same thing with my daughter. Like, I make her work for certain things that she wants, you know. I don't give them money. They earn their money. The only money they ever get is birthday money. That's just, you know, it is what it is. But as far as like any money, or if they want something, they have to earn it, or they have to explain to me why they want it. Like my son goes to a JSTEM school, right? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He's 12. He just turned 12 in March. He goes to a STEM school. Like if my son brings home coding homework. And so I see the thirst of knowledge that he has because I have the same thing. Like I love learning. Like I always say I love being the dumbest person in the room because I have the most to learn. And so like I'm instilling that philosophy into him as well, right? Be the dumbest person in the room because you have the most to learn, right? And it's always about learning. And like Kong said, knowledge is power, right? I've got this painting hanging in my house where it says knowledge is power, and it's got this black man. He's chained down. It's super crazy. You can look it up. It's super wild. I love it. But I instill that stuff into them. I instill it in my son. I instill it in my daughter. You know, I'm trying to instill these things that I wanted instilled in me that I may have not got the chance to get instilled in me because of how I grew up and my situations and my circumstances. You know, obviously we grew up in a different generation, you know, like Colin was saying, like, you know, we went from the era of no cable and no internet and computers like that to now, you know what I'm saying, we walk around with computers in our phone, in our pockets. So we have to be able to adapt as well, our parenting styles to this day and age, right? What worked for our parents won't work for us. So, you know, I'm just, you know, just different things that I'm heeding and paying attention to and trying to grow as not only as a man, but as a father. And you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
man. You know, one thing I'm getting from everybody that I love to see, man, is that we're all teaching. You know, we're all not just teaching like the things that we're supposed to teach, obviously as a father, but we're passing on things that we've learned, and we're passing on things that I don't know your experiences, gentlemen, but there's a lot of things I wasn't taught as a kid because I feel like my parents, you know, being immigrants coming over here, first generation, they had to deal with so much shit that just them having jobs and being able to support their family was like the top of the hill. You know what I'm saying? So I think of things like I wasn't taught how to fucking balance a checkbook. I wasn't taught how to save money, let alone how to invest money. You know, it's just plain and simple. My parents didn't know these things. So, you know, I grew up having to pretty much teach myself that. And those are, man, things that when I was growing up, I had to go through some things that I definitely don't want my daughters to go through. So it put a fear in my heart, and it's instantly made me say, listen, every problem I ever had, everything I did not know when I was a kid, everything I had to kind of teach myself and figure out, and the things that I notice in life that are more important than anything you could ever learn in school, like I immediately have to give that to my daughters, man, from real basics of financial literacy, man, to mental health, to, you know, letting them know that being able to speak in front of a crowd and express yourself, public speaking, like the importance of that and the strength of that skill, communication, and how important that is. You know, the type of things they're not going to learn in school that I have to teach them, man. So I love to see you guys all kind of mentioning, you know, little things here and there that you guys are teaching your children, not just your daughters, all of your children that, you know, might not be typical, man. So that's awesome. I love to see that.
One of the things that I like to tell my kids, my daughters, is that it's cool. First of all, they know that I hate labels. That's one of the biggest, I think, flaws of society is that we're labeled as soon as we're birthed, as soon as we come out of birth. So we're labeled you're never who you are, who you're supposed to be, because you're already labeled according to whatever your parents' belief system is and society you live in and all the bullshit behind it. So yeah, my kids recognize that they're female. You know what I'm saying? They're pretty females and whatnot. But they also recognize that they have to be alphas. So there's a time to be a girl and there's a time to be an alpha. And they recognize that, and that's why I instill in them being alpha, turn into alpha mode. If I'm not in the house, it's their turn to turn into alpha mode, bro. And that's not being a male. That's literally just being alpha mode. That's being progressive, being the one that's in charge, being the one that's a protector. So us being growing up and going through all our stories and all our bullshit, and everyone having their own issues in the past is really a blessing, because it gives you the knowledge to be who you are right now, and it puts you in the place that you're supposed to be at. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in. I believe in everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So with that as well too, being fathers to females, or even to children in general, like everyone's saying, teaching them how to maneuver in this world that's made around the matrix of money. Well, it's time to get money. It's time to get financially right. If we weren't taught that shit in the neighborhood, and we weren't taught that shit growing up in our schools and whatnot, and we have the tools to do it ourselves, and to teach our children, and even if they don't understand, to be able to set the foundation for them to be able to capture that and be ahead at a certain age. Like, for instance, for my daughter, as soon as she turned 18, I added her on as an authorized user to my best credit card, the one that gets utilized the most, and they get it's on time, and you know what I'm saying, the gravy card. So now, by the time she's 18 and 2 months into her birthday, her credit score is already 700 plus. Now, 18, 19, she's got another card, basic department store card. So now we're building a credit history, because by the time at age of 21, she's about to get into the real estate game, without knowing that she's about to get into the real estate game. But we're building the foundation for us to be able to empower them to not have to go through the shit that we went through, and to be able to skip a couple steps. And that's really the goal, bro. That's really the goal as parents, and not even just girl dads, just as parents and as people, just to be able to skip steps and help people that want to ride along and be progressive. Shit, hold my hand, ride the wave. It's literally like the way to live. And the more we instill that into our children and show them that to lead with love and lead with purpose, shit, it's a different matrix.
Hey man, I fuck with that big time, bro. Big time.
I think that something else too, as fathers to daughters, that's a trip, is, me myself personally, the whole saying of like how society is, where like boys will be boys. So it's like society, it will turn a blind eye to a lot of the things that men do. And I tell my wife this all the time, that because of that, I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to try and bring y'all into the fire with me. I done some fucked up shit, growing up, to women like around my age, not knowing that I'm actually doing anything fucked up. You think that this is just, normal. You know what I mean? Like the games that you played as a child, running around grabbing females and shit, they laughing about it. But as you get older and you start to talk to women about this, you realize like the insecurities that a lot of them developed, and how they were afraid to speak out about certain things, didn't want to say nothing. They didn't want to look like the odd one, the awkward one. And I actually had not a situation necessarily like that with my daughter, but my daughter's been going to school. Well, I had to pull her out of school. So my daughter's actually doing the virtual at home learning right now for this specific story that I'm about to share with y'all. So she was going to school and getting into physical altercations with a little boy there. Obviously he likes her, that's clear as day for us. But it would be things like, one thing would happen and all of a sudden, like, they are like swinging on one another, or are doing whatever, wrestling on the floor or some shit. And so it got to a point where I had to tell her, like, look, you need to just completely stay away from him. You see him over here, I don't care, you chilling with your friends, just go to the other side or something, because we don't want no altercations or nothing like that. And so one of the last times, the second to last time, while she was still, I had her still at the school, it was something like her and her friend were playing with like a ball, and he just came over out of nowhere talking about like, oh, this is my ball. And they were like, nah, it's not, like, we're playing with it. and he just took like a paddle and hit her friend in the arm with it, and then like tried to take the ball. So my daughter's just like, hell no, like, are we still playing? What the fuck? Like, so she went to go get the ball back, and then that turned into them actually like, wrestling on the floor, like for whatnot. And then here comes the stupid older kids pulling out their cell phones, recording it. Again, back to that whole, the generation and the times that we in right now, which is something I would have never thought. You don't expect your kid to be the one getting recorded, or even any of the, you don't think about this shit till it happens. So anyways, after this occurs, the thing that trips me out about this is her and that little boy probably had about, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 altercations, and each time I'm finding out from her, because she'll let me know what happened, and then I got to go back to the school and talk to them and be like, yo, what's the deal? Like, can you separate them? What's going on? They never told me themselves one single time. So I'm over here on full dad mode. I'm telling them, I'm like, yo, do you not know the time and age that we're in? I'm like, this is a girl. You guys are not protecting her. You guys are not saying shit. And you're training her to think that if something happens, either one or two things, not to say nothing because nobody cares, or, she don't want to get that boy in trouble. That's another thing that I had to teach her. She would be like, well, I know he's going to get his ass whooped by his mom or whatever. And I had to let her know, like, it don't matter. Let him get his ass whooped, because that's the consequence that he deserves. You need to speak up. You need to speak for yourself. I personally know a lot of women in my life who have gone through some type of, deeper trauma, whether it be molestation, rape, or whatever, who have, like I said, I don't know what it is about me, but a lot of women have shared shit with me growing up. And then they just talk about how they don't, either it's embarrassment, they don't want to be the one sharing this with whatever type of authority that they need to, whether it be abuse, physical abuse, a dude putting hands on them, or whatever the case is. And so I just feel like one thing that we definitely need to do for our daughters is train them to have that braveness. Like, you need to, like, don't give a fuck about nobody else. Think about you first. If somebody's wronging you, you got to speak up. You got to say something about it, because this world is going to then turn around and be like, well, why you didn't say shit? And then they're going to look at you like it's your fault because you could have said something, or whatever the case is. So I think that that's one of the topics of being a girl dad that, somebody who doesn't have one would not even think about. These are the things we need to install, like it's a computer, instill in our daughters. You feel me? So,
They are, bro, but they literally are. That's the dopest part. That, like, the quicker we realize that the brains are what we're doing. That's to like what Marcus was saying earlier. Is we're reprogramming, we're rewiring our DNA. So we're rewiring our shit from being a survivalist to being somebody progressive. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, because that I forgot the other word for it, but there's an actual psychology term for that shit. From like turning your world, like a lot of us grew up in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to grow up faster than I needed to at such a young age and shit, because I needed to get out of my house. That's literally, in psychology, they call that shit survival mode. And then there's another thing that's supposed to shift. I forgot what the fuck it's called, but it shifts into the different kind of mindset. And a lot of people never shift from survival mode. So a lot of times we stay living in the survivalist mentality, and it's not supposed to be like that all the time. So it's funny that you say that, Kong, right now about your kid at the school, because my 7-year-old, my 8-year-old now, every morning I tell her luckily I'm blessed enough that I'm able to hang out with her in the morning before she goes to school, and then when she leaves, I tell her, hey, be cool, be smart, and don't let nobody bully you. She's like, I know, Papa, I know, but every single day, bro, that's be cool, be smart, don't let nobody bully you. Okay, Papa, I know. Because we had a couple little conversations about some little situations at school too, and we had to analyze it too, because a lot of things is the way this kid talks. Like I said, she's a little badass, bro. Like, this kid's walking around. She's a girl, bro. She's walking around. She's 8 years old, walking around with a Cobra Kai oversized hoodie on, talking about kicking people's asses, bro. So I'm sure she's getting a little bit of slack at school, bro, from some people that ain't trying to hang out with her. And I tell her sometimes, I'm like, man, tell me what happened and what you said. And then when I hear what she said, I'm like, okay. Now I see why. You were ousted in that little circle and shit. But yeah, I always tell them, be cool, be smart, and don't let anybody bully you.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's so dope, dude. That's so dope. I think, it's funny, man, those like little sayings like that, like just those little simple things like that, man. I don't know if it's something you tell her like every day or whatever, but I have stuff like that. I tell my daughters, and even stuff I used to tell them when they were younger that sticks to them. They'll be like, "Daddy, remember when we used to say this?" And like even every day, like I drop all four of my daughters off at school. The two oldest, they go to high school, so I drop them off first, and then my little ones after that. And to this day, it's every morning, we, I tell them have a good day, and then make sure, you stay calm. If anything happens that, makes you, feel uncomfortable, make sure you say something, handle it properly. Like we just kind of have this little pep talk every day. And when they were young, when they were all like little, man, I'm talking about, I did this with my oldest daughters and even my youngest daughters now, when they were like 2 years old, and when they started like preschool, when they were like 3, 4 years old, up until they were like, second, third grade, they were starting to get a little older. I used to tell them every day. I used to ask them. I'll say, "Who's strong? Who's beautiful?" And then after every one, they would say me. So it was like, "Who's strong? Me. Who's beautiful? Me. Who's confident? Me." And it was like a thing we had, and I had videos of them, man. And to this day, they pull up the videos. They're like, "Dad, I remember this," and it's just so dope, man, for them to constantly be able to go back to something like that. And it was just kind of something I did, man, and I thought it was kind of cool, and it was something we would do like very often. And I would constantly tell them, and to realize that stuff like that stuck out to them and still sticks out to this day. It's
It's
so dope.
empowerment.
Yes,
Empowerment,
100%,
man. It's
100%,
empowerment. I would one of
100%.
the tricks I did with my girls, and I still do it. Whenever I need them to get something done, or they got like a big project, big test, anything like that, I usually walk into their room about 45 minutes to an hour after they fall asleep, and I talk to them in their ear. So just saying words of affirmation is just talking to them like, "Yo, you gonna kill it. You're gonna do well. You're prepared. You did what you had to do. Da da da." I mean, I'm intuitive, so for me, that shit works. Some people may think it's a little funky and weird, but yo,
Nah, I
man,
feel
I'm
that, bro. I
speaking.
feel
I'm
that.
speaking to her soul. You know what I mean? I'm trying to speak to her soul to make sure that all that shit is alive. I want to make sure her chakras are aligned. I want her vibrations to be strong as she walks in this world. We are lights. We are lights onto this world. So I want them to shine bright. Shine bright. In a pitch darkness, the smallest little sparkle will light up a fucking room. Very different when you got a lit ass place. You're not gonna see a dark spot. So I got a quick little story, and then I gotta jump off because I gotta do the bed tucking.
No doubt,
Um,
man. And real quick, just before you get into that, so yeah, fellas, we're kind of hitting that 2 hour mark, and that's kind of what I wanted to do, man. Let's wrap it up, man. Let's all end with something solid, man. If we want to share something, some whatever, man, some final words from everybody. So yeah, please, John, go ahead, man.
yeah, quick 5 minutes, quick 2 minutes. 2014, I was walling out, married, two babies in hand, growing business at a couple locations, studio, I was out there, musician, touring, busy life. Riding my bike home one day, got hit by a car.
Hey, John, man. My apologies, brother, but that background noise is pretty loud, man. I
Oh,
can
okay,
barely hear you.
okay, good.
I think you got the bulls. I think you got the bulls. I hear them
Yeah,
bulls in the
yeah, yeah,
background,
yeah.
bro. There
Okay, here we go. Can you
you go.
hear me
Much
now?
better. Much
Better?
better. Much better.
So riding my bike home, I got hit by a car. Woke up a couple days later. I'm super grateful for that moment because I was able to recognize I was so fucking busy. I wasn't watching my children grow. You have 4 years when they're born for you to really instill your shit into them and just be there because that's the only time they're babies. At 5 years old, you got to hand them over to the education system. You got to take them to school and do the rest. Out of an unfortunate situation came out an even better situation because I feel that that's when I died and got rebirth into the man that I am now because it allowed me to recognize, slow the fuck down. What are you worried about? What are you prioritizing at the end of the day? So that's what I kind of wanted to live with you. That's been a game changer for me, and it ain't stopped. And my shit's been growing. The love, my daughters are thriving. It's been great.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. That's what's up. Marcus, man, why don't you go ahead, man, leave us off with something, man, if you want to share a story, some final words, whatever it may be, my dude.
Hey, all right, all right. So just wrapping up, I want to say thank you for everyone that came out, came and supported the space, everybody that came up and spoke. Much love, much appreciated. I learned a lot. I learned some new stuff, you know what I'm saying, on this talk. I hope everybody else did. Just remember, you know what I'm saying, we are that star in the sky for our daughters at night and for our kids just in general. So we got to shine the brightest we can so that they can go on to shine brighter than we ever did. Uh, I commend all the fathers in this space and all future fathers in this space on what we're doing and raising our kids and being in our kids' lives and being impactful and being that guy, right? That's what we're doing. We all stepped up to the plate regardless of our upbringing and situations that occurred in our life, and we stepped up to the plate when it was time. And that's, you know what I'm saying, don't forget to give yourself that pat on the back for doing that, because it's not as common as we would think it is. So give yourselves some kudos, and let's just keep doing what we're doing, and feel free to reach out to one another, you know what I'm saying, whether it's parenting or just in general, you know what I'm saying, this network, keep these communication lines open that we've started here today. That's all I got to say. Much love, much appreciated. Shout out everybody that's in here. And can't wait to meet, you know what I'm saying, hopefully some of y'all that I haven't met in person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love it. Love it. Mo, what's good, bro?
No, man, just to say good looking out for having this space, man. This is dope shit. This is one of the things this is why we're visionaries and we're leaders and we are who we are, especially like Marquez says, bro, recognizing who you are, recognizing that you're the superhero in this story, bro. Make sure you don't that you don't lose that position and shit. Because nobody's gonna come out here and save your kids besides you, bro. And at the end of the day, it all falls back on you. The generation before us did not speak. Men were told not to speak and open up, and that's very fucked up. That's very wrong. That's unnatural not to speak, not to have an outlet. That's very unnatural. So having these spaces and fathers looking out for fathers or just reaching out to each other, like everyone said, man, that's dope, bro. Keep it going and keep rocking these spaces.
Yes, sir. You know what it is. Kong, what's good?
Yeah, man, just appreciate the space, hearing everybody else's stories, what they have to say, what they, dealing with as fathers as well. And it seems like everybody in here, hopefully our daughters will get together one day, because it seems like everybody in here got their head on right. So, you know who you are, who you hang around. I can't have my daughter hang around these skeezers, you feel me? So you guys got the intelligent ones, and so that's good. Proud of all of y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely don't want our daughters around those skeezers, bro. 100%. But yeah, gentlemen, appreciate having all of you here, man. It was a great conversation. Hope to have more of these and more of these types of conversations. Like I said, we were all brought together by NFTs, Web3, cryptocurrency, whether we're artists, investors, entrepreneurs. And I think it's a beautiful thing to look outside of that and realize that, we have so much other things going on in our life and so much more to give to everybody else. So, to go off everybody else, we kind of are on the same page. If there's anything I could ever do for you on any level, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. All of you that I've already met in person already know the deal with that. So please, let's continue to make this happen. And until next time, I'm Visual. This is IC Web 3. Peace, blessings, hundreds of lessons.